Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to create a little gift card for a colleague of mine. So what I do, I just roughly cut out the pieces of wood so it doesn't need to be exact. It's about 15 to 11 I think. Then I noticed that when you write on the wooden card with the pen, it seems to blur out the ink. So what I did, I wanted to make the back where we wanted to place our signatures from the team on a piece of wood that is coated with this white coating. But if I just glue the both pieces together, it would be too thick in my opinion. So what I did, basically took this piece and tried to make it thinner using a little router. Worked okay after exchanging the battery several times. In the end, just going across and cutting out about 3 millimeters from the thickness. Once that's done, I used a little chisel to get rid of the places where the router didn't get to, so the thing is completely flat. And afterwards, cutting down the actual card piece of wood to the exact size. Again, the table saw works perfectly fine there. And afterwards, the idea I had was just to, again, on the piece of wood, which is maybe 4 millimeters thick, again use the router to cut out the counterpart of the white piece of wood which is coated, and just glue that in with a little wooden frame around it. And in the end, just trying it out as I go. And this little router is very helpful there, so to adjust it you can just hold it next to it and screw everything together. Attach your vacuum. I recommend that, so otherwise you get a lot of wood stuff flowing around. So this time again cutting it out here, a bit more difficult because it should be an exact fit, and the frame around it should be same width at all places. So in the end I just cut out a rough shape and then try to use a chisel again to make it the exact frame. As you see, it's a bit trying a few things here, so I used a cutter knife to make sure that the wood does not break out, because it has different layers, this piece of wood, and if you just cut into it, it might break on these little fine edges. I was aware of that and tried to not do that, but in the end, we'll see. It happened anyway. So, but using the chisel in the end to cut around on the exact corner of the frame seemed to be the way to go. It took a while and I had to try a bit, and in the end I was able to remove this one of the layers. Thing was that the depth of this cutout was not just this one layer of wood, it was a little bit more. So tried again with the chisel, and as you see, I'm struggling a bit, and at some point I decided, okay, seems to I need to use a machine more or less. So there you see, okay, a little breakout on this side. I think what I did, it just afterwards I got this breakout. I glued it back together to make sure that when I use a machine again, there you see it, I just use some wood glue and glue it in again. It was okay. In the end you see more places where the wood was breaking out because it was so thin, and not an issue in the end, because I'm gonna add more glue which is stabilizing the whole thing. So as you see, gluing it together, and then I think at some point I thought, how am I gonna get this exact frame around it? Again, I could have used the router, just trying to be a bit more exact, but I thought, yeah, this big router is a bit difficult to adjust on really the fine edges. So what I decided at some point, I just use, in German you call it the multi-tool Dremel. I think it's not a real Dremel, but with a little attachment, and then this was okay. I was able to get until the frame, and yeah. While doing that, I had another breakout, or another few breakouts, so I had to get some pieces of wood which I cut out again of the original wood and just removed it. And yeah, that's a good thing with wood. You can really, there's no real, you can mess up, but still you can use some glue and repair stuff. So just cutting it to size here, making it fit, and then using some wood glue to glue it in. And yeah, to make sure that you don't really see that it's glued in, I used some, what you can do is use some wood glue, mix it with some fine sawdust from the wood you cut out, and then smear it into the little spaces in between, so it looks really as there was nothing. It would be hard to see at the end result. So here I left a little bit overstanding, so just gluing it in, and then see the wood glue and putting it in. And yeah, with these projects it's always like you get some surprises and then you just need to handle them, and usually there's a way. And generally this is all preparation for the final card. So here in the end I have the whole cutout, and now I cut the piece I want to glue in to the exact size, so making sure it's perfectly fitting into this little frame. Here it helps of course to have rectangular shapes and so on, so this little table saw really cuts precisely and makes it easy to fit stuff. So I think the first cut was nearly perfect, so I had just now cutting out the excess pieces that I left there, make it exactly the frame as on the other side. Yeah, sharp chisel is also a good tool here. So oops, now just fitting it, and as you see, just aligns perfectly. So just getting it out, and I thought, yeah, well, no big messing, just use wood glue, put it in, both sides, distribute it evenly to make sure you don't have any gaps in the back, and seem to have kind of found the right amount. Also to make it not too much, because if you use too much it's coming out on all sides, and yeah, you're wasting a lot of glue and just getting a mess, but it seemed to have been okay. Just pressing it in, and then I placed a little kettlebell on it, and I think I let it dry for overnight or so. I don't know. I think I did something else in between, and once it was sufficiently dry, I used some filler for wood filler, because I thought, okay, yeah, to make sure really the gaps are filled. And at this point in time I thought, okay, yeah, just smear it in, and then once it's dry I can remove the excess with sandpaper. Of course, the part where the brown wood is, it's not an issue, so you can easily sand it off and gives an even shape. It fills all the gaps. What I didn't think of, or would have expected to behave a little bit differently, was the transition from the wood to the white coated wood. There I over sanded it, and it kind of caused a little, you'll see it in the end result, it smeared the transition between the wood and the white wood. I think it's some kind of plastic coating. And yeah, I had to go with it. I was sold it. If you wanted to have this effect, you probably would have never get it accidentally it looked like it. And still okay. I still like it, and I think it turned out very good in the end. So you see there. So now getting ready for the laser engraving. Just sanding the whole thing down. Again, making sure there's no rough edges or sharp edges. So you can of course always do that later, but I thought do it now, because once you have it, get the laser engraving, you can still sand it and so, but it's an extra step. So getting down the laser engraver. So as you see in my workshop, I try to use every space I have, and this thing is occupying quite a bit of space. So it's 40 by 40 centimeters you can engrave with this thing. It's an Ortur Laser Master Pro 2 something. I got it 3-4 years ago, and I've been using it more or less regularly to make some gifts and engrave some stuff into wood. And the software I'm using is it's called Lightburn. It costs a few bucks. It's available for Mac, and no issues with that. I can really recommend it. It's a one-time payoff, so it's okay. And I prepared already the image I want to engrave, or the file for it. So here I just connect everything. In the end, the thing I prepared needed to fit to the actual size of the card, so having a little bit of gap on the frame, making sure that it fits. And so here I'm just adjusting last minute adjustments. In the software you can size it to whatever and get the exact measurements. Now turning it on, and the way to find the middle or the positioning is by what I always use is I measure out the middle of the card by the diagonals crossing, and then you can set the laser to fire just on a really low power setting, and then you can adjust it. The height is then adjusting the focus, and here you can see how it's lasering the whole thing. First the text, which is I think offset fill, and the image itself is done by line. So the whole thing's I think, don't know how often I speeded it up, but in the end it took I think 25 minutes, the whole card. And that's it. So reason this meme, because she likes memes. And of course, if you get this kind of card, maybe, not sure, she wants to put it somewhere in office or wherever. So if you want to do that, I made a little stand for it. So I used a little piece of scrap wood. I think it's birch. It's got some history, but I'll tell her that. And just a little piece of wood, and then adjusting the table saw to have a nice little angle to make sure that you can stick the card into it. And I think I used this technique a few times already, so I know that it worked. And here just adjusting the table saw, making sure that the angle is on the right side of this small piece, and that it goes in the right direction, the angle. So you can just adjust the height and see, just cut into it a few times to make sure that the thickness of the card accommodates it. And as you can see, it's not yet fitting, so another one, so you can really precisely cut it. And there you see now it fits. It's holding the whole thing. You don't need more. And I thought, okay, there's some room in it, so let's try something else. I don't have any logo that I usually do on my stuff, so here, thought, try it out. What can I use? Looked into my drawers. Thought, okay, let's use this little washer. Gave it some hair, so cutting in with the file, and 2 eyes, and just playing around and trying to see if that's something I could use in the future. In the end, I'm not super happy with it, but it worked, and makes the whole thing a bit unique. And just making it fit with the circle and some heated glue or heat glue, I don't know what you, and then just gluing it in the end. I think I had to use additional wood glue to make it really stick, and played around a bit, and at some point realized, okay, this is not gonna be so super perfect. So yeah, it's still on it, and it was a try. So yeah, that's about the end of it. Thank you very much for watching, and let's see if she likes the gift card. So idea is, I think I'm gonna leave a message on the back. That's the idea. So I think we are 15 people in the team, so everyone can grab the pen, put on some notes, and yeah, I think it's on Wednesday next week. So